Hello and welcome to my cellar. Number of things to talk about tonight. We'll begin with clearing up a few things. This is number 97, not 101. A while back, my video editor and I had planned to redo the presentation, and the numbering has always been a little suspect. Actually, I've done 103 or 104 now, but that's counting the other ones that were before the YouTube. Anyway, his father passed. He's had to go to a different continent to take care of business. So we don't have the updated stuff. We will just continue to keep grinding it out. I guess I'll be doing one more before I go to Gamehole Con. So that's clears up that thing. This is 97. The other point is I had the story a little mixed up on my business partner. His son indeed was injured in an entirely different thing. His son is not the one that's got the lung transplants. Apparently that's a very, very close friend because he was sharing a lot of pictures and he's very proud of him. So apparently he's known the young man for a long, long time. So thank you for those that expressed interest. He's still a young man deserving of your consideration. Okay, let's talk about a parse too far. I just love it when the rules lawyers try to parse what we wrote and try to wiggle. This is something I found on Facebook. I think it was today, perhaps. It has to do with the sphere of annihilation. Now, the question asked was, when touched, does it annihilate the entirety of the entity that touches it, or just part of it? Where does the annihilation effect stop? Okay, let me quote what Gary and I wrote. Any matter which comes in contact with a sphere is instantly sucked into the void, gone, utterly destroyed, wishes and similar magics notwithstanding. That to me is pretty clear. And so when I responded to this on Facebook, I said, yes. The person that's touching it, everything that they're wearing and in contact with, which means if they're holding on to somebody else and they're holding on organically, then yes, the whole daisy chain gets sucked into the sphere. Yes, we did that on purpose. It was the ultimate weapon, the inescapable final obliteration. No coming back. Everything you had's gone. If you want to look at it from a cold-hearted DM's point of view, it was a means of sucking anything out that you didn't want in your campaign anymore. Now, I'm not advocating that type of play, but it would certainly allow you to do that. So yes, when you touch it, everything that you're wearing that's touching you, all organic matter is sucked in. What you're wearing is sucked in. What you're holding is sucked in. Any matter which comes in contact, any matter, organic, inorganic, makes no difference. 6 people can go up holding leather straps, and they're all going to get sucked in because they're matter. Yes, That's what it's for. It's something that's so horrible, so atrocious. It's like a bomb that will split the earth. Fool with it at your own risk. Parse that, rules lawyers. Parse that. Want to thank you for continuing to put out these videos. You have a lot of experience that most of us don't have, and it's great of you to share it. Well, I'm glad to share it. I'm a retired teacher, and teachers never stop teaching. They never stop sharing their knowledge. Whether it's me with my grandbabies, that's a robin, that's a cardinal, or a different way to try to play something. I'm glad to share it. I like to consider myself a minor village wise man or elder. Yeah, I've been playing a long time. I've been playing D&D longer than most people left alive today, actually. There's a few that have me by a year or two, but that's all. That's all there is about a year. So I'm glad to share. These are my opinions. I try to remind myself to repeat that. In my opinion, this is whatever. I don't set myself out to be a gatekeeper or any nonsense like that. I like to share my information. I like to share my opinion. I like to talk. Let's see. I saw the min-maxing start in 2.5 edition AD&D. I didn't know there was a 2.5. I thought it went 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 4, and then 5. Anyway, you're right. It started after 2. And it was with kits, apparently. Somewhere between 2 and 3, I guess. Kits came out. A crass merchandising ploy on the behalf of TSR. I'm certain what anybody tells you, it's just another merchandising ploy. And yeah, they trashed the game. They were junk, in my opinion, what I've seen of them, and they overpowered some characters, and it was ridiculous, and it was a money grab. And then Wizards saw it as basically the same thing and said, okay, we'll continue sucking money out of people with crappy kits. Let's see, he wants to, it got worse with the Wizards, and it's horrible in 5e Adventurers League. Okay, the min-maxing. I miss that old flavor. I want to bring that old D&D flavor back to the current iteration thereof. Well, yeah, but again, we got to remember that we old schoolers, we first edition players, are in a minority. We're very vocal, and we're much scorned. We're much scorned by these newer gamers who feel it's easier to deride than to attempt to understand, to label instead of listen. I'm going to talk some more this evening about inclusiveness. We've always been inclusive. We lead the league in inclusiveness. Always have. All right. I started playing D&D back in 81 or 82. As usual, all right, this is a long question, but well worth the read and the listen. As usual, it was with a bunch of young preteen guys. Now I DM a game for 3 ladies, and in another group as a player with 2 ladies and their husbands. The game I play in with these 2 groups are very different from the games I played in all those years ago. Back then, all we did was find the monsters, kill the monsters, and take their treasure. In my games today, there's a lot more role-playing strategies, cooperation. That could either be due to being older and a bit wiser, or that the women approach the game in a different mindset. I believe it is a combination of the 2. All I know is that I'm having more fun playing now than I did all those years ago. Long live gaming, and may your dice always roll true. I think you put your finger on it. I think they're both true. I have always noticed that on the rare occasions, years ago, 12, I've been back out playing games for with and for the public since 06. Okay, so in that period of time, when I have had one or more females in the group, I have indeed found it to be, in many ways, more fun because, in my opinion, or from my perspective, I find it more fun because they do look at things differently. And I have found that groups with females in them tend to be, over the long period, whether that's 2 hours into the game or over a campaign, tend to be more cooperative. They tend to pool ideas more frequently because there's not a bunch of alpha males trying to take the lead and be the big dude and, be the alpha. Alpha males are fine. Alpha females are fine, and they all have their place. I do believe that it is more fun playing with ladies in the group because of the different perspective. Let's face it. When you're trying to problem solve and a crazed, rabid rhinoceros is chasing you across the flat plains with no trees in sight, any ideas anybody can come up with are probably worth a shot. And so this second comment that I'll comment on follows in this. As a modern gamer who started in 2007, I'm noticing the hobby become incredibly conservative ever since the recent resurgence of white power across the globe. It was never an issue for me until recently when I was excluded from a gaming table for having Jewish features. I see a lot of people lying that SJWs are, I should have my glasses on, I apologize. Too late at night to be reading this without. I see a lot of people lying that SJWs are at all doing anything negative when the SJWs are responding to violent threats, censorship, and alienation. These people aren't complaining or trying to control anyone. They're making a space for themselves and weak or crying about it. The mighty glue stick guy is one of those white power guys who censors anyone he agrees with. Conservatives, well, we don't need that opinion. Yeah, you're right. There's a whole bunch of SJW stuff going on. I've been raked on the coals and drugged through the gravel pit for attempting to mansplain. I do notice there is a coincidental correlation. Whether one's caused by the other, I don't know. I'm not that wise and studied in politics and political science to make that correlation. Though I did find it terribly interesting. There was an article in the Week today, just a little side here, that there's 10 counties in the United States that since 1980 have always voted for the person that ended up becoming the president. 4 of them happen to be in Wisconsin. And they tend to be below median income, poorly educated, and very white. Curious. Anyway, yes, it seems to be that there's a lot of this stuff going on, and we have to be ever so carefully treading through the field of giant puffballs, lest we step on one and envelop ourselves in a cloud of stinky spores. Quite frankly, I'm getting tired of it. I've been inclusive since the very, very beginning. The fact that somebody doesn't like the way I chose to be inclusive or the wording I chose to indicate that, I'm getting to the point where I'll just say, if you don't like it, suck it. I don't care. I have an open table. We play adult games when we're adults at the table. We play PG and family games when we're PG and family at the table. And everybody's welcome. Green, blue, yellow, white, black, brown. I don't care, male, female, or whatever you declare yourself to be. I don't care. Has nothing to do with the gameplay. Now, if it's a group where you all become friends over a period of time, well, then, hey, you know, that's part of becoming friends, is accepting each other's differences and similarities. That's enough. Hooray for bed and breakfast. Oh, I agree. I can't think of a better way to go to a con. Way to go, AppleCon. Way to go, the Cornish Inn, or the inn in Cornish, Maine. Great place. Lovely. Wonderful people. Okay. Haha, great video, sir. Thanks for your time, and I love the hat. Good. Those of you that don't care for my hat, well, you know, tonight the word is suck it. As a discussion point for next time, do you have you gone into downtime aspects of the game, such as a player-run business or a town and the economy? I play industrials type video games like Civilization and several others, and always wanted to do something like that for role play. Well, actually, way back in the day, there was a lot of that stuff that went on off the books, on the books, off the table, so to speak. Downtime, you had to figure downtime for healing and learning new spells, you know, and stuff like that. We used to figure downtime for how fast are the adventurers' funds going to be depleted based on how fancy they wanted a place to stay in. There was the people got into doing training and stuff like that. I have heard of campaigns where they get into side businesses and whatever. The Knights of the Dinner Table, of course, being a comic, but being such a window into our souls, they get into side deals all the time, buying and selling stuff and trying to swindle and whatever. And as a DM, I say, what was that you wanted to try? Okay, well, roll the dice. Let's see how it works. I wouldn't set up something where one player, either openly or in secret, is, like the innkeeper and sucking everybody else's money out or anything like that. I guess you could extrapolate other stuff about, you know, building. We used to, you know, how much of our keep got built, you know, that we would keep track of that kind of stuff. But I don't know otherwise. What are you going to set up a trading business or you know, become a dealer in rare stones? Well, I would imagine obtaining those rare stones must be part of the adventure. We all become merchants when we're selling off our loot, don't we? I don't know really how else to answer that question. I'm sorry. We did do a little of it. I don't know how much, if you're going to, you know, supposing you're going to be you're going to run a thieves guild in a medium-sized town. How much of your time are you going to have sucked up running the guild, and how much time will you have left to actually go out and do things on your own? And then is it fair if, as the master of the guild, you're getting a rake off from all the other thieves? Well, you're making money that the rest of the group isn't making. As a DM, there's a lot of things to think about in there. What's fair and what isn't. Is everybody going to pick up a side business? Well, then they aren't adventurers anymore, are they? Okay, it's not to say, like, if you made a big score, you go, you know, buy a farm or you know, a breeding operation for horses or something, and play around with that in the abstract. Yeah, more power to you. Try doing that. But it's got to be pretty abstract. Clickbait question. Yeah, I love clickbait questions. What are my top 3 or 5 of the AD&D modules? Well, my 4 favorite modules are the G series because the G series worked. We set out to do something and it fulfilled our wildest dreams. It worked in every respect, exactly what we wanted to do. And we were very proud of ourselves for having produced that. It was not only a saleable module, but it was also an extremely workable tournament that made us a buttload of money. And then, of course, the Tomb of Horrors, because that's just the god-awfulest thing you could ever not want to be stuck in. Easy question for me. And also, I'll be honest, I probably haven't looked at 4/5 of the remaining modules that were put out over the years because I don't give a shit. Here's an enthusiastic comment that really doesn't do much good. Yes, I agree. Well, which of the crazy shit that I said did you agree to? And okay, here's an interesting one. Were you around? No, I wasn't. When the choice was made to use multiple polyhedral dice for sticking instead of the more common D6, why was that path taken? Were the polyhedral dice that hard to get back when the game was still in its infancy? I still have my dice from my 1978 box, and they are terrible. Yes, no. At first, everything came out on a D6 because, yes, they were hard to get a hold of. The only way at the very beginning, the only way you could get a hold of them was for like Norton Scientific or Edwards Scientific, the companies that sold stuff to teachers, scientific stuff. That was the only source. So, yeah, D6s. But the problem with relying solely on D6s is it's damn difficult to figure out percentages using D6s. Now, there is a notable game, one of my all-time favorite board games, that, as far as I know, was the very first game to generate percentages using D6s. And that was Mike Carr's design, Fight in the Skies. It's later renamed Dawn Patrol. I don't know what it's called now. But, and I don't know, to be honest, I don't know if Mike ever told me whether he came up with the table or he found it in a math book somewhere. But yes, there's a large table that you can roll 6-siders, and you'll get percentages. You know, if you need if it's a 35% chance, you roll, and if you roll one of those numbers in the 35% slot, you did it. I'm rotten at math and arithmetic too, so it was there. It was doable. I don't know at the time if Gary knew about Mike's chart. I never asked him. I guess if I see Mike again one day, I could ask him if he knows, but he might not know if Gary knew about his chart. And again, I don't know if Mike invented it, but I do know you can generate percentage results with D6s doing that. However, when Gary found out, okay, we can get D6s, Hong Kong, I imagine, then at the same time, Greyhawk came out with the alternate damage, and now you're using polyhedral dice. There's other reasons why polyhedrons were the preferred. For one thing, even then, in '74, gamers collected dice. As a rule, in a gamer's house, none of the Monopoly, Risk, anything like, none of those had dice. They were all in a bag somewhere that the wargamer in the family used. Pardon me. Odd colored dice. Hey, there's a green die. Okay, gamers are a lot like jackdaws, type of crow. They like shiny. In this case, they like dices. And Gary knew that and said, well, This will make it neat dice. This will make it dice that we use and nobody else uses. Another little cachet there. And they'll collect the hell out of these over time. So, also, to go back to the difficulty of generating percentages. When we designed, when I design now, we choose polyhedrons for, we use percentiles for whether or not it hits. But then the damage, we use polyhedrons based on the average number produced by that die. All right, so 2 6-siders will on average produce 7 points of damage, 3.5 each. Enough rolls, you'll see that comes out. Okay, so the other dice, the 4s, the 8s, the 12s, they also have different things. 2 6-siders, the average damage is going to be 7. 2 12-siders, and the average is going to be 14. Twice the sides, twice the damage. So do you want something like, if it's a big tail on something that if it hits you really good can crush you against the wall, well then the 12s have the greater potential for a smashing hit. Thaco was part of all this later. That's how we figured out what it takes to hit armor class 0. It's my belief that good designers figure out somewhere, they have a sliding scale of how many hit points of bad guys versus how many hit points of good guys coming in. There should always be more bad guys because good guys have more stuff, you hope, or at least should be even. I don't know. That pretty much says it. The dice are fun. They're pretty. They give much better results. And it's a hell of a lot easier to read than to roll the 6-siders. But if you get a chance to get a copy of Dawn Patrol or see a copy, a friend has one of Dawn Patrol, or its original name, Fight in the Skies, photocopy that table. And then if you lose your polyhedrons, you're golden. I think that's about all I got on my sheets tonight. Going to Game Hole in 2 weeks. Really looking forward to that. We're going to be there for Halloween, and they've invited the locals, parents, to bring their kids up and trick-or-treat at the convention. And there's going to be live dungeon people there and true dungeon people there and cosplayers. And the dealers are all going to be in costume. And I'm giving away, I'm going as a very debonair Viking with a houndstooth fur, a checked, kind of a houndstooth checked fur, and a very, very suave horned helmet that changes colors and lights and flashes back and forth. And I'm giving out Smarties and Dum-Dums. I intend to have fun with the kids with that. So it's going to be fun. Plus, we're going to play a lot of great games. Now, unfortunately, on Sunday, I'm going to have to drive a couple hours to go visit a friend who's just received a very terrible diagnosis. And I'm going to have to try to start helping him get his affairs into order. And the day after that, on the way home, I'm swinging by through Chicago, probably to say goodbye to a friend for the last time. So a couple, 3 days of fun and then a couple of bummer days. But I'll let you know about all the fun, because at Game Hall, we're going to be playing some Wheel of Blame. And we're going to be playing another Dirt Track Saturday night stock car race. Can't wait for that. I know I got repeaters coming. So That's about all I got for tonight. We'll make it look better as soon as we can. I don't know yet if we're going to pull the Kickstarter off before the end of this month or not. If we don't, then we'll probably bring it out in February. It's all written. The art's all done. I'll be teasing some of the art next week. It's all completed. The cover's done. I've seen all that. It's just a question of getting I guess it's just a question of getting the video going so we can launch the Kickstarter. So bear with me, hang in there, and keep playing games. Invite somebody that you never thought might. Give it a shot. And until next time, Dodada Govi. Oh, hello. I'm still figuring out when this thing starts. Welcome to my cellar.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar.
Last man around when them rates went down. Calling Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar.
Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard grave. ESR and fantasy, collection of micro armory. Tight with tramp under a tree, high as could be.
He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Curmudgeon.